Once you're in, it's always important to put your seatbelt on first. Okay, and then that same door will lock. Right on the inside there. And there we go. After that, I'm going to key it on. Okay, so today we're running Komatsu PC210. There will be a link to this unit down in the description. But I like to do, with all of our training videos, we like to keep it somewhat generic, just so this can apply to really any excavator. So I'm going to go over the controls with the Komatsu one, but also just kind of keep it a little bit vague on it. So as you saw, I keyed it on. First thing is always your display. There's always going to be some monitor or something in there that does, these machines are pretty sophisticated, so making sure it goes through, see if there's any error codes or anything like that. You obviously do not want to start it if you have any of those. Then after I turn it on, at the beginning of shift, you always want to make sure you have your fuel. If it's got diesel exhaust, one of the newer machines will have DEF, there's going to be a level there, and you're going to want to monitor all that. Okay, so that's that. I have a machine idling right now. Seatbelt is on. Outside of that, the most important safety piece in an excavator is the safety lock lever. There is a red little knob. Komatsu has these little knobs on the side that's basically flipped down. If I pull back on it, it raises the arm up. It's like a parking brake. So any excavator you get into is going to have that in some way, shape, or form. I've seen, I think a John Deere will have an arm that pushes forward. It's always going to be something near the door. They like to make it where if it's engaged, you can't get in or out of that equipment without stepping over it. So that's a really good indicator for you. If you see it in the doorway or anything like that, that machine is live. But with that down, when those things are engaged, even with the machine running, I can touch anything in here. Nothing's going to operate on this machine until that lock lever is engaged, okay? Other than that, just basic things, climate control. We're in newer equipment, so we're a little bit spoiled in there. But also things like just knowing your seat. There's the newer machines are designed for comfort, because if an operator's going to be in this machine for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, the more comfortable they are, the safer and more efficient they are. So just understanding, it's little things like that, making sure you know the piece of machinery you have, on different options you can do there. And then on the right side here is where all my throttles over here. So my key to turn on, everything else. And then I've got lighting control for my Komatsu to the right. On the left is where I have my stereo control. Most of these are equipped with radios, things like that. So put that down. Now I'm going to go ahead and engage the safety lock lever. Now, with this, again, I'm going to really dumb this down one at a time. Right is your boom and bucket, left is your stick and swing. Now, we are showing you ISO standard controls. This is, you might hear them called CAT controls. I would say 90% of the people I see use ISO. Personally, I think it's the easiest. Obviously, I learned ISO, CAT controls, standard controls. That's what I've used. SAE is the other, sometimes we'll call them John Deere controls. Almost all newer machines have a valve in the back. You can switch the old video on ISO versus SAE. There's a lot of confusion in terminology. Honestly, I really don't care that much about that. Just be comfortable with one way, because once you learn that, that's primarily going to be, I can't run a machine in John Deere control, right? It looks like backwards. So you're going to learn that. Now, with my right hand, boom bucket. If I pull back with the right joystick, that's going to raise the boom up. Throttle this up all the way. If I go right hand forward, it'll bring that boom back down. If I go to the right, it's going to open my bucket. And if I go to my left, it's going to close the bucket. So right is your boom and bucket controls. Left is your stick and swing, okay? Stick, sometimes they call it a dipper. I'm trying to think of other terminology. Really, there's, especially around the world, there's different terminology. But stick is basically protecting the bucket to the boom. If I push forward, push the stick out. And if I pull back on that, it's going to bring that stick back in. And then left or right is your swing. So swing, swivel, those terminologies that can change. So if I go left, it's going to swing the machine left. If I go right, it's going to swing the machine right. And then there's no hard stop on these swings. They will just go all the way around. Now, some little pieces there that I want to go over additionally. Almost every machine we study one at a time. That's how we like to start our training. This is really